Welcome back to Off the Rack Rebellion, the triumphant return
Woo!
with three of us now.
Woo! You can see
This is the
Ramey.
podcast, where we talk about costuming and how to take everyday finds and incorporate them into your everyday cosplay. You know that part. Kate, Ramey, how you doing?
Hello, sir. It's so
Hi.
nice to see you.
So good. It's so good.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we're happy you could join us.
I'm always here, but I'm always hiding behind the scenes.
He is the man behind the curtain. Ramey keeps us functioning for sure. We're always like, what does this button do? How can I? Oh my gosh! But
what does leave studio mean?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No, don't leave yet. Oh my gosh! But we are doing a final like recap of some of the looks that we saw at Space Dive, which was the beginning of this month, and here we are at the end of this month, and now into June, and it seems like it's been ages and yesterday all at the same time. So, yeah, Ramey and I did our little recap, our little, on the ground. You can see what's happening, like see the set behind us. And, but there were just a few looks that we were going to go over a little bit more in depth. And Billy, it was so fun to see kind of the different vibe. It was like being on another planet for me because the looks, well, first of all, we're very different from Batu because nobody was in Mickey Mouse ears.
Yeah. They can go a little harder there as well.
Yeah.
Well, and it's Detroit Rock City, baby. They go hard. Like they are
so
in it. They are gritty. That was one of my takeaways, was that a lot of these characters really dove into this very tattered, very worn, very hardcore looks. And I loved that. And I thought that was it's really interesting that, they're their own city, and it brought, I think, an extra layer to the vibe. I thought that was really cool.
It felt very Outer Rim,
Yeah, it does.
rough and tumble, and like, nowhere near these sort of like dressed up kind of folklore worlds. Yeah.
No, and also I think that some people have mentioned to me that they feel like some Burgundy Squadron people even kind of have like almost a uniform look, where there's like a vest or a jacket, and it's very clean lines. They're, semi-symmetrical and stuff like that. But this was like layers upon layers, or wraps upon wraps, and it definitely was really cool, because I was like, oh my god, I'm on another planet. Yes, I love it.
It was. I mean, honestly, it was the entire event felt very Burgundy Squadron because of all the whole thing was all very denizen. But there's also like, I know what you're saying as far as like there's sort of a Burgundy Squadron look.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also like, there was like sort of a gypsy kind of Renaissance fair kind of. There was a whole extra little bit of an aesthetic that went with everybody that was there.
And I wonder if that's because the Michigan Renaissance Festival is one of the older and bigger ones in the country. And I wonder how much of a crossover there is. Next year I'm going to go around polling people. Excuse me, do you have season passes to the Renaissance Festival? Fascinating. Thank you so much. But
taking a poll.
I know it's going to be me next year. But I think that there probably are a lot, because if you're looking for that immersive playtime, like that's what we've always had. And I talk about that a lot. And so we all kept saying it, like, oh my gosh, this is like a mini space Star Wars run fair is what this is. Because we're just in it, and you don't have to acknowledge the outside world, and we're all just playing, immersive, right? We're all just playing along the same storylines. And it's funny because my neither of my brothers attended, but my middle brother, the one that you met, he says hi, by the way. He was like, I told him about it, and he's like, oh, okay, next year I'm going. And, because I was like, I don't really know what I'm getting into, guys. And both of them were like, nah, you're the adventurous one. We're gonna hold off. And then once I told him, he's like, I am so bummed I missed that. So yeah, it is. It's hard to describe, but so yeah, we could dive into the photos if you want to, really quick. We've got a couple of our Burgundy Squadron members, and then a couple non-Burgundy Squadron members, but I think they should be Burgundy Squadron.
I think they're working on it.
Okay, they are. Okay, great.
One of them, I believe,
awesome.
and like they're like, yeah, I'm
okay, great,
I'm
awesome.
on my way.
Yeah.
Because by the way, some of these people at Space Dive are now my favorite people in the world. I don't have photos. I'm just gonna give a quick shout out to Rob, which is I think RG Ragnarok. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He is one of the Space Dive folks, and yeah, had just like got to hang out and just one of my new favorite people. And actually got to talk to Eric Heerspink, which was amazing. And such like one of the most humble, sweet people in the world. I was just like, you are a sweetheart and a doll, and I'm so glad we all love you so much, which blows my mind, by the way. So, all right, let's dive into the photos.
Okay, here we go.
Let's do it. Okay, this is one of our Burgundy Squadron members who is my new best friend, Jedi Master Maul, or Soren Corvus. And Soren and Krios and I went on field trips every day. And we went to the Detroit Institute of Arts and we're taking photos at an art school, which is across the street from the DIA. And if you're ever in Detroit and can go to the DIA, it is an impressive art museum. You know, not many people are thinking, oh, art, Detroit, but you forget Detroit has old money. This art museum has been around for a very long time and has some really impressive collections. But I felt like we were in Ferris Bueller's Day Off because it was like the three of us. Like I was like, oh my gosh. It was so much fun. So I just thank you again to Jason for his hospitality while we were there. Just drive us around town.
Please tell me you guys stole a car.
We should have while we were in his car. We should have stolen a different car. My gosh. So his look, it was so fun to talk to him because he was like, oh my gosh, thank you for asking. And he was telling me that when he was putting together this look, he had checked in with his brother, who he said he's not into this kind of level of Star Wars, but he was a really good sounding board because he was able to just come back and say, hold the phone. Which lane are you in right now? Are you, original trilogy? Are you sequels? Are you prequels? Like, pick a lane. And he said that really helped him like narrow down what he was looking for. I love his cap. His cap is so fun and so beat up, and you could totally imagine him just taking it off and like shoving it in a back pocket, right? Or like kind of under the pauldron thing or something like that, like folks in the military used to do.
Well, I don't think I'd seen that before. It's basically an Imperial officer's hat, but not in the normal black or green, or like it's not one of the colors you've ever seen before. But it's the same pattern. So I thought it was great because it's that same pattern. It's instantly Star Warsy, but not the colors you've ever seen it made in before.
Think he mentioned he might have bleached it and then redyed. Yeah.
That is brilliant. I love it.
Interesting.
I'm remembering correctly. I think he might have had sort of ex-Imperial in his backstory, and that's why he's got sort of the things. But I think that's what he said he did to it, like in the real world. But I think he just sort of gave it another look and kept the cap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know that the patterns exist for those, and obviously there's plenty of makers in the community that will make those hats.
Yeah.
I see a reason why you couldn't have them make it in a different fabric, which would be totally great too.
Yeah.
It reads amazingly. That sort of downturned brim is like it's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. It's and really me, more hats in Star Wars. I always love seeing Star Wars.
I saw some great hats. Like, somebody had a hat that was sort of inspired by Cad Bane's, and it was just like a flat brimmed hat, and they had done like the ring around it. And then I saw our friend Craig Hobbs from out that way. He had taken just a normal like dad hat baseball cap, and I came home and I did this too. So he had taken a dad hat and but specifically like with a short brim, but a simple one, and he printed a Rogue One Rebel Trooper, like the donut that would go over the military helmet, but he sized it very specifically to fit over the hat.
Ooh, nice.
Oh my gosh.
So that it fits over the baseball hat perfectly.
Oh, I'm gonna need one of those.
If you are listening to the podcast, go to YouTube.
This file's free off of Thingiverse, and you can just size it so I had to print it a few times to get the sizing like just right. But yeah, so like you just print it.
So cool.
Yeah, because I have the Gabbercrete cap as well, the smuggler cap that they did, which has the kind of quilted ridge, and that would be perfect.
You could just print one of these, like I said, I had to do a couple test prints to get the sizing right, just right, so that it would fit down over the hat. But it's perfect now that it's done.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there were so many good. Everyone kept asking me if I had seen the Cad Bane hat, and I did. I just never got a chance to catch up to that person in the daylight. That was definitely, you'll see in these photos, they'd get darker and darker because we were losing the light real fast. Because the daytime event is the kids event, and we had actually left early to go do some more photos from that one. But when we were there in the evening, it was like scarf food, say hi to everybody, and then the sun's going down. But I love the lines that Jason's got going on because I love this bandolier that's going across his chest, and also kind of he's got that pouch that's hanging off on that side. I feel like there's some really interesting like color blocking, but also still some motion. And this was a fun look, and it was one of those more is more looks too. Like, yeah, like have a hat and a cowl and a bandolier and the cape and the little pauldron going on and some gloves and some really great boots, and like it wasn't overpowering. It all works harmoniously. So
yeah, I think it works. It works beautifully. I remember when this one came in, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, you're like, yes.
The bar is being raised so high that
I know.
we've had a few people just come in the last week or so, and a few others that are still with the app team, and like, oh my god.
Yeah. I know for me, I
love it.
I'm ready to up my original character look after like all these new people coming in. I'm like, all right, yep. I'm gonna add some more. Oh my gosh. So once again, thank you, Jason, so much. I can't wait to see you next year. So okay, our next one. Yes. Plaster Master Maker. Our friend Kevin, who has been on the podcast and who's ready to come back on and just chat all day with us, which would be fantastic because
he's a great guest. Yeah,
Kevin is such a wonderful maker, and I think I found out the story behind his Blaster Master Maker screen name is because this shipping container that he is leaning up against the corner of is a secret weapons cache. Filled with blasters. Okay. That I believe, actually, I know some of them Kevin has made. And so if you go to Space Dive, stop by.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you won't regret it, or bring your own. But I was so much fun to talk to Kevin about this. And of course, now we're looking at these, and I had taken notes, but I'm just going off what I remembered. Kevin wanted to blend in to the surroundings of Detroitooine with this look, because I was like, what? I asked my usual question, what inspired this look?
Yeah.
And he was like, this. I wanted to blend into these walls, and he does. Which is
when I think of Space Dive, I think of him. I mean, I think of him in this look. Yeah.
Poster child. Absolutely. Yeah. So this is definitely a more is more look, right? Like there is so much, and this is what I'm talking about, like the wrapping of so much fabric. I really got that like scavenger vibe is deep in Detroit for sure, which I love because I stayed at a VRBO about maybe 3 blocks away from here. And on the map I had been like, oh yeah, I could walk. And I get there and my first Uber driver drops me off from the airport, and he's looking around going, are you sure this is the place you're staying? Because it is this one old building that has been refurbished into a lovely apartment complex. Everything else around it is a destroyed building or an empty lot, because there was so much old manufacturing and things in Detroit that are now being torn down and either used for scrap, and then whatever else is like ditch, or like, they're crushing the concrete, they're taking the metal out of the buildings, things like that. Or they are going ahead and completely like gutting it and redoing it. So I was really like in this kind of no man's land with this one building in the middle of it. And then, the locals had been like, oh no, please don't walk here. And I was like, darn it. I was like, I didn't even think about that. They're like, this is probably not where you want to be. And I was like, all right, fine. I think during the daytime it would have been a-okay, but fine at night, whatever.
Yeah.
But that is, it is so Detroit. So the scavenger mentality, like we've got these old buildings, we're gutting them and making something new, and I love that. And that's it carries over into Space Dive. And so this outfit, like the cuffs and the belt and the wraps, so many wraps, and the bandolier and the bowl, the planter. This hat was made out of a planter, which is, I mean, if you see it in person, it looks amazing, and you're like, shut up, that was a planter. Oh my god. And like you never would have known. So yeah, it's so cool. But like this look kind of encompasses the vibe of this event, and I love it. So, again, thanks to Kevin for everything.
Yeah, and he was a great host for the whole weekend.
Yes,
Him
thank
and
you
his
so
whole
much.
team.
I
Yeah, I
know.
feel so bad. I feel like I let him down because I was like, I'm coming this
No, you know what? Things
this year,
happen.
but I
They're
couldn't.
gonna be there, and you
Yeah.
know what? Every year is gonna be better. I am convinced that
Yeah.
every year is going to just get better and better with these folks because they have so many plans and so much passion,
Yeah.
and I just love them all to bits. It's amazing. So
There's such excitement. We were talking about this when he was on. Like there's when I see the posts from their socials start to like ramp up, like it really does feel like the circus is coming into town, and there's this like sort of childlike excitement that sort of comes over me, and I'm like, it's happening
I
again.
know. It's almost like Brigadoon, right? Where it's like it's there for one night and then it's gone, right? And you're like, oh no, I missed it. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm so thankful that they do 2 weekends because I think that second weekend might work out for me in future years as well. It's kind of already
That's
penciled in our
like
calendar.
literally the only one I'd be able to make
Yep,
if I
you
could
too.
make it.
Yep. For sure. So, this is Colin from Space Dive. And Ramey, do you remember his title? Because he's got a title.
Oh, I don't.
I know. So, but when I met him, he was like, "Hey, Kate." I was like, "Yeah, hi." And he's like, "I do all the social media stuff. So when you're chatting with Space Dive, as you do," I'm
Oh,
like, "Oh
okay.
my God, I'm sorry." He's like, "No, it's great." He's like, "That's me."
Got
So
it.
I'm
I
like,
just always think it's Kevin. Everything.
I think I was always like, there's this unknown person who I'm talking to, and I almost had just this like, I don't know. I just like the blank, and now I know who it is. So it's and
Okay.
I think he should join Burgundy Squadron because look at this look.
Absolutely.
But just another person who I have to extend like just so much gratitude towards. Like, thank you for everything, and just the wonderful art and work that is happening here. So I love that his goggles are a little bit askew in this picture, and I don't know if that's always the case. I can't remember, or if it was just accidental, but I think it's a really fantastic addition actually to the character because like the jacket is open and unbuttoned, there's like extra satchels kind of like thrown on there, and you get this really like outer rim, small town, like
Kind of just pieced
excellent.
together, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like just excellent weather. Yeah, like somebody just ran out of their house and like threw a couple bags on and is like, getting to the spaceport to like do what they need to do or whatever. Um, which is it's just fantastic. It's so lived in is this look.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I can't imagine that he wears anything else in my mind, right? Like if I saw him in jeans and a t-shirt at the airport, I wouldn't recognize him, right? Like, so I'm like, this is what I imagine all the time. Even when he's on the other end of the social media account. So it was just put in, and some more cargo pockets, which we saw a lot of really great cargo pockets in Andor season 2, and I kept being like, "Woo, this is awesome." I think I can't remember how the shirt closed, but I think it was almost a double-breasted. But I have to go back and see if I can find any more. But again, just a really great look that is easily achieved, and then throw on those extra little, you know, little flair, little hat, goggles, bags, and you're done. Like it's such a good look.
Gotta accessorize.
The accessories. All right. Who is next? Oh, yes. Okay. So this and I was so funny because I was standing there and I turned around to look at the person. So there's an A-wing as part of their props, like this big, beautiful A-wing. And someone was like, "Oh yeah, go talk to the A-wing pilot." And that kind of gets you into the little game. And I turned around, I'm like, "I know you." So we had met at Helsicon. And I don't know if you remember, but he was one of the people I interviewed.
Yes.
Yeah, so he's got a really
He had a
amazing
suit on,
he has
didn't
an
he?
amazing suit. Yes.
Yep.
And so what I wanted to do, I'm so sorry, I was having technical difficulties this week. I couldn't put these together myself. Billy threw these in. I wanted a before and after side by side. I should have sent one to you. But because like the juxtaposition of these two looks is so fantastic. I'll have to share them on our Instagram because it's so fantastic. This to me reads very like Vietnam, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Which totally inspired the troopers in Return of the Jedi, right? And like,
Yeah.
and I like, so I loved. So this was a detail shot, and he's got some sabacc cards like in his helmet. And I was like, that is brilliant. Like, that is such a wonderful layer of this character. Fantastic. So this is Varian, at least that's his character name for Helsicon. I didn't stop to think what character he goes by with this. But Samurai Solomon, not Burgundy Squadron, but should be. And it was familiar Earthwise, but you could tell it all has that Star Wars slant to it, which I thought was so fun. But all that military surplus stuff that has such deep roots in Star Wars, I loved it. And just another one of our friends that was just like wonderful to see and wonderful to talk to and wonderful to interact with in the storyline and everything like that at Space Dive. So yeah, love it. Did you include the other photo of him, Billy?
I think so. Yeah. There's
okay. There we go. There's the full length. Yeah. Big blaster. When in doubt at Space Dive, carry a big blaster. Because
I after seeing that wall, because there's a vendor there, right, that sells a bunch of Nerf blasters or just blasters in general.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll load my eBay up with a bunch of like old like Nerf blasters that I've been meaning to buy, and every time I look at them, they're like cheaper and cheaper.
Oh, nice!
And after seeing them on the wall, I popped.
I know. Well, that's what Kevin was like. You didn't come armed. Did I not drop that hint? And we were like, we didn't come armed, but it's okay. You can.
I can't believe Krios was able to leave Detroit with.
Well, that was my thing. That was. Oh, did he do it in a carry-on?
In a carry-on.
Oh God, I'm shocked too. But whatever, it's Detroit. Detroit, I love you, and you know I do.
I'm wondering if it's because it didn't get picked up by
because it's plastic. No, yeah, it's true, and that's why I didn't, because I do have a couple that are in my stash of stuff in this closet. That I picked up at Goodwill, because I'm often there being like, oh, this is a really cool size and shape and I should redo this. Well, I ran out of time, but I also was like, I don't even know if I want that in my checked luggage, but it's it's fine in your checked luggage, right?
Yeah. The blasters I had in my checked luggage.
Oh yeah, you were probably armed to the teeth, right? I'm like, you ever seen that old Sylvester Stallone movie called Oscar, where he's the gangster, 1920s gangster? It's, if you haven't seen it, look it up. It's hard to find. Anyway, there's a line where like they're making some gangster give over all of his weapons, and they're like, it's like disarming Germany. And sorry, that's like one of my favorite
stuff out. And
and he keeps like something to the sock, or like it's a Mando move, right? Like, oh, you're armed to the teeth. Anyway,
so funny actually that they included that.
Right.
That was really
a good touch. Yeah. So this was his full look, and I think just head to toe, it has again that like ties to Earth, but the slant of Star Wars. And such great weathering, and a very formidable person to be standing around, at Space Time, like just standing around and looking like they know what's what, and just one of those many characters that help add to the ambiance of this event. Can't say enough great things. So when you go to Space Dive, everyone, next year, because you're going to start building your look now. So, think about weathering, think about your spray painting season. That's what I need to do because I would like to make my own blaster finally. So I need to jump on spray painting season, which I have a small window in Seattle when it's not raining.
Check eBay. Looking for Nerf stuff.
I've got
two great blasters that have lights and sounds and everything.
Totally.
I think I got them both for £9.
Oh, nice.
I got the Death Trooper one, and then the sort of smaller one of the pistols. And £9. I mean, you can't beat that. Like,
You also. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. A painting tip for the blast, because they're plastic and they're not always easy to paint over, because like you paint over the plastic and like you can run your fingernail over it and scratch the paint right off.
That's what I always do.
You can get a can of what's called adhesion promoter.
Ooh, writing that down.
And you can spray that on first, and it just goes on clear. You can't see it, but once that dries, and then you paint over that really helps the paint stick better.
Perfect.
And it's You can also sand, but sanding in all the little nooks and crannies gets difficult.
Okay.
If you do both, it's even better, but the adhesion promoter will help the paint stick.
So would you sand and then add the adhesion promoter?
Sure. If you do both, it's
Perfect.
even better. But the
Okay.
adhesion promoter helps so that like the paint
Okay.
won't come off as easily.
Perfect.
So
'Cause I
that way, because you're
always
gonna
do
bang
that.
into things and stuff it and like
Yeah.
bump it, and even in your suitcase and whatever. But like
Yeah.
the adhesion promoter helps the
Okay.
paint.
Perfect. Because I have a few things I have sprayed and I'm always like, "Oh, that was plastic. That didn't work.
You
Great."
look at it sideways and the paint just flakes
Yep.
off. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll get it. See, this is
Yeah.
I'm learning to be a painter. So,
Yeah. So, real quick
yeah.
before we get too much farther into it, we
Yeah.
record during the day. I have my day job I've got to sneak off to.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
thank you guys for having me on.
Thank you for being with us,
You
Ramey.
will continue to record an awesome episode, and I've
Okay.
got to sneak off.
Okay.
So,
Have fun at work.
thanks everybody.
Bye. Yeah. So I think just general wrap up of the space dive look is weather the heck out of that stuff. Like really look like you wear these looks all the time because that was the most impressive people. And there were many. There were so many. I was like, wow, I can't imagine you wearing jeans and a t-shirt because this looks like you wear this all the time, which I think is what we're going for, right? Like we
Yeah,
want that full immersion.
I think that definitely takes it to the next level. It really cements the costume into wherever it's supposed to be. Yeah. Not everything needs to be like completely destroyed. It all depends on what type of character you are and where where you are. Obviously, an Imperial would be impeccably clean, but but also
as Mike
someone
Forrester
for
was in his Imperial officer look and was giving
but
people a hard time.
someone, exactly. But someone from a core world might be a little cleaner than most, but
And I
definitely
think
the outer rim people are, I mean,
totally. There were definitely people coming in and like you can go back to Space Dive's Instagram and there's some really fantastic outfits. They're like, wow, I never would have thought about that. Like this woman with like this jeweled like snake headdress thing going on. And it's like, whoa. And it reminded me of that episode we did on the Jedi where like the old Tales of the Jedi comics had this Egyptian flair to them, right?
Oh,
Right. And
right.
it's like, oh my God, did she read those comics? I never asked her. I should have. But and there's some folks who come as some of our regular characters that we know of, or they're there as Jedi or something like that. It's definitely like a Space Where's Waldo, which is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that it adds to this like feeling that you are in this like spaceport that people are coming and going from all sorts of parts of the galaxy and things like that. But
that's what I loved looking at it, that it looked so eclectic. That not there were bands of people that maybe looked similar, but then there were also a lot of groups that were very different from each other. So it feels like those, like a Tatooine. It feels like a spaceport. It feels like 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 the Port Borgo in Skeleton Crew,
very much like
you've
that.
got people coming and going from all different places,
Yeah. There were a lot of Mandos. Definitely a decent amount of Mandos. Trying to think. Couple Twi'leks. There weren't tons. I wore my Twi'lek, which was actually the best time to wear that look because it was much cooler at night. So also keep that in mind if you are planning to go next year in the future. Layers, because I was definitely it was like 80 that day. It was Saturday and it hit 80. And I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And so I had my like flight suit like rolled down and like a tank underneath it and everything. And I had given some kid in line my poncho because they were gonna let him in. I was like, here, put this on. You're going in. I'm like, you're coming too. And so then I was like, oh, when that sun goes down, it is still spring in Michigan and it is cold. So definitely like plan for, although there were some gals that were like, in some very strategic outfits. And I was like, how?
It happens,
right. You still live here. You're still used to this temperature. I'm like, man, I have wussed out in the past 17 years that I've been gone.
It happens.
This is
The
cold.
girlies want to go out. They will
go out and they go. And there's also different areas. There's some outdoor areas. There's more indoor areas. You know what I mean? But I would definitely suggest, some layers if you're worried about being cold. But yeah. Oh,
and
man.
how were the food and like the amenities? Like,
Oh my
is
God.
it good? Is it
Oh my
nice?
God.
Is it,
Have I not talked your ear off about the food yet?
No. That's the one thing that, like, I think everyone, because everyone's like,
I need
oh,
to
it's
try
so
this one.
immersive, it's
And
so
I don't
this, that,
know
and
if
the other.
it,
But it's like,
yeah.
but is it,
Oh my God.
do they
Yes.
have good offerings
Yeah.
as well?
So I don't know if it changes every year. In fact, I do believe it changed from year to year, but whoever they had this year, and now I can't remember the name. Oh, shoot, I should look up. They are a restaurant that's in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
The
Down the road a little
local,
bit. Yeah, down the road a little bit, not too far. It's where University of Michigan's at. And they made this amazing like rice bowl. And so the basic rice bowl on the menu was vegan. And then you could add either this chicken option or this pork option. And, if you wanted to. And then once they bring up your order, they had these toppings all spread out in front of you, and they asked you like what you wanted to add to it. Oh my God, it was so good. I could have eaten multiple of these each day. They were so great. So they were only in the evening. They weren't out during the daytime. Maybe somebody could make some space peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the kids. I don't know. But like they didn't have food options during the kid time.
We
So
have
just
plenty
prepared
of
for that.
pouches.
Yeah, that's
We
true,
just
right?
bring
Yeah.
snacks for the
Just bring
day.
snacks, which I did. I set up my whole
Nice,
like
perfect.
Stay Aurora Wandering like tea scene, and Krios and I were able to shoot more photos, which was really fun. That photo series that he shared recently was really fun to do. And so that was fun because I kept turning around being like, tea, like to all of our group. I'm like, no, seriously, there's tea in this. Would you like tea? Like, and I've got snacks. You want any? And it was just like, 'cause that's me, tea and snacks all the time. But that like bowl that they had for the food option in the evening was phenomenal. It was just such good flavoring and just so, I don't know, like, and you watched them make it like their little food station was like in the round. You could walk all the way around it. And they had, I'll share some more of the details. Like they had all these like beautiful, space vegetables like set up in these little displays all the way around it. It was so immersive. It was so, and even the people that were working behind it were in even more than the Ren Fair. You go to the Ren Fair and you're like, you go to order a turkey leg and they're kind of in a costume. But you like these,
but they've got to be comfortable to work.
I know they got to be
close.
Yeah, in the heat and everything for sure. But like I felt like these folks they looked really good. They were into it. You know what I mean? And so I was like, oh, that's fantastic. So then there's several bars located around, and there's like one outside. Oh, maybe is it one outside and two inside? That might be it. Geez, it felt like more. But you can get really good blue milk, which is why I had, because if I have a beverage, I'm just ready for bed these days. So it's like if I want to stay awake, if I want to stay awake, I'm just like, I can't handle it. But so it was like, oh, lovely to have a little blue milk. But then you can add, you can order things to add into it if you're looking for adult beverages. And then other than that, they had like some extra different mixed drinks that they had and things like that. And definitely they definitely had water, because I remember one night I was like, I just need some water, because it was the day that was like super hot. And stuff like that. So it was like it was really fun. And I don't feel like you had to wait a really long time for anything. I think that they, with having these different stations, like they kept things moving pretty well. Oh wait, actually they had 3 bars inside. There we go. Because there's the one that, I don't know if you've seen the photos. It looks like you're on Batu with like those big canister things behind the bar, and like that whole thing is built. Like they built all of that. And that was the one where it was like near the little booth alcoves. And that when you're standing in there, you're just like, I am in it. I am in Star Wars right now. This is
their whole aim is to have a 360-degree coverage.
And it is, and you believe it. And you're just like, you kind of walk out, you stumble back out into like, this real world, and you're like, what the heck? What is going on? I thought I was in Star Wars. Why am I not in Star Wars?
Why? Why am I back to this real world?
I know. Oh, so yeah, the immersive experience. Like if you are looking to get dressed up and go show it off and be amongst your people, I can't recommend it enough. So.
Yeah, I've been daydreaming. I had plans for this year. Obviously, didn't pan out. Hoping for next year, but I've daydreams of plans. I'm like, should I even tell anyone, or should I just like
just
see
make it
if I'm
happen,
found?
surprises.
Yeah, or see if I'm found, maybe work
Oh.
on something to blend in and have
Oh.
that be a
Well,
part
and
of it.
I thought
Like,
about that. That would be so fun if
yeah.
we have more folks we know coming in, almost having our own secret game in the background of like
Mhm.
some sort of message or some sort of person that you're trying to find, but maybe
Yeah.
like it's you, but you are in such a disguise that we don't know it's you or
Right.
something like that, or like
Right.
something like that. Because there was this point in time where Creo's you put a blaster in that guy's hand and he wants to use it. Which is so funny because he's so quiet and unassuming, and you're like, wow, I did not see this side of you coming, but okay. All right. And you're drinking the non-alcoholic blue milk, honey. Oh my gosh. And so we were in the game, and he was like, there was something that went down. He was like, nah, this guy's cheating us. And he was like, I just want to blast him. And so he did. And the actor was like, didn't go with it. He's like,
Yeah.
what, really? And so Kevin found us, like, but had switched into his Mando gear, and we didn't realize it because we've been talking to him, and then he went switch, and then he comes up and he's like, "That's not very Burgundy Squadron like," and we're like, "Who are you?" We're like, "How do you know us? Like, who are you?" And we're like, and then we're like, for 15 minutes later, we're like, "Oh, that was Kevin."
Right.
But it was kind of fun being like, wait, we don't know who that person was. So I keep thinking, I was like, oh, it'd be fun to have some sort of mission like that, or something that's like you've got to get one message to like somebody else, but someone's trying to intercept it. My friends and I in high school, which it was the 90s, we would never be allowed to do this now. We played a murder game in school.
Okay.
Where we had to, like, one of the friends organized it, and everyone had a target that they had to get, and they had to kill them with a really random object.
Okay.
Like somebody had a banana that they had to kill somebody. And so basically you just had to go up to the person, hand it to them, and be like, you're dead. And then they were like, oh no. And so you had to get them alone was the thing. So like they couldn't be with somebody else.
Right. No
Or
witness.
or it was like a baseball card or like whatever, right? And so like these really random objects. And so I still remember that literally at the same time, one of my friends found out you could mail bananas, which is true. You can write a person's address. And so she mailed a banana to me, and I was like, Mom, no, don't hand that to me. I'm gonna die. And my mom is like, what is going on?
It's like, take your banana. Someone sent you one.
She's like, first of all, your friends are sending bananas in the mail. Second of all, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I was just like, I think it's her way of trying to kill me. Anyway, so I keep thinking that could be kind of a fun extra layer to do. And I think that there were some people that definitely got in more blaster fights with their friend groups, or definitely got in more blaster fights with people they didn't know. So definitely bring some extra bolts, people. Bring some pockets and some pouches to shove your ammo in, because sometimes you're gonna be like, oh my gosh, where's ammo? And you can find it, but you bring some extra. So I definitely thought that'd be extra layer of it if you and your friends are like, oh, maybe we've got some sort of extra mission. They were also telling us when we did that episode with the dad batch that they were finding things that folks had left.
Oh, nice.
And somebody had actually gone through and placed a whole bunch of detonators that they had created. And so the whole place was rigged to blow.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, and they were like,
actually a good idea.
And so it's like, the
we should
people
make some sort of
play.
like listening device.
Oh yeah, something like that for sure. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Or
some sort of like.
Oh, we shouldn't be talking about this.
Okay, Ramey can edit that out, right?
Leave it. We'll come up with something. We got a year. We got a year.
But and that's their thing, is like, oh my God, we're so happy because people want to play. And it's like, and that's
the most important part. Yeah.
That's why we're all flocking there, is because we want to play.
Yeah, there definitely should be. I mean, is not trying to take the wind out from beneath them or anything. They're amazing, and they, will continue to be one of the first, if not the like premier ones. But there should be more of these happening everywhere.
We all think
it. We all think it. And there's a group in a LARP sort of group in Germany that do
Oh,
a similar
those
kind of like
Europeans are so good at LARPing.
yeah,
Why are they so
that
good?
they do like a yearly Star Wars thing. And I do
What?
believe it's like story based as
Okay.
well, and it's
Okay.
LARP based. So it's like
Okay.
there might be two factions, and there's also
Yes.
like blaster fights. So it's
Yes.
it's great. I've been talking to some of the people here. I've been trying to build up like the UK
Nice.
group so that maybe we can get something going here. There are so
Yes.
many shooting locations here that if
Oh,
we
I
can get a
imagine.
hold of one of them or
Yes.
something near one of them or
Yes.
something like that and do an event, that would be great. I've
Yes.
got somebody working on um, trying to see if we can somehow rent out the Dakar base, the partisan base,
Oh my
which is
gosh.
here, and it's actually not very far, and you can get really close to it. It's just
Oh
fenced
my
off,
gosh.
but
Okay.
obviously they do rent it out because they rented it out to
Yeah.
film.
Yeah. Oh my
Star
gosh.
Wars,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
But who knows
Lucasfilm
if
probably
they?
has a bit of like weight behind them when they're like,
Well, they
they
also
call
have a lot
somebody
of
up and they're
money.
like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. By weight, I mean money. Well,
Mhm.
and clout and everything. It's like, oh, somebody calls up and they're like, hi, I'm from Lucasfilm and we'd
Yeah.
like to film on your location. Okay, done.
Absolutely, but then what? Because like,
Yeah.
who else
Yeah.
is going to film there in
Yeah.
this weird base? So
That's true.
would they be able to let that go for
Mm-hmm.
a weekend
Mm-hmm.
to
Yeah.
a bunch of you know I don't know,
I need to solidify my
nerds?
travel plans for next summer is what you're telling me. So
Well, I don't know if it'll happen by next summer, but we're definitely just putting feelers out
nice.
because like
Yeah.
that's a gargantuan
Yeah.
sort of thing that
I
like
mean, you may
I
as
know
well.
I wouldn't be able to head that up, but I would I would
Yeah.
I would do my best.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, we've talked about it so many times. These immersive experiences are where like people want to go with
Hmm.
their recreation. They're combining recreation and entertainment.
Hmm.
And then we've seen it for years in the Renaissance Festival, like the pirate
Hmm.
festivals that happen,
Yeah.
like the Viking fairs, like all that kind of stuff. The like large a big deal these days, you know what I mean? Like it's definitely nerds rule the world now. So this is
Yeah,
where
yeah, and
we've all
there's
grown
so
up and now we have
many.
money, right?
Yeah, there's so much
Yeah.
like there's so many different niches and so many
Mhm.
different sort of types of things that happen all over the place that like
Yeah.
it boggles my mind that
Yeah.
there aren't more Star
Yeah.
Wars ones.
Mhm. Yeah. And I feel like it's a really prime time for it with all of the content that's been coming out and more
Mhm.
people are saying, "I finally see myself in Star Wars." Like, it's not just me
Right.
dreaming, I am there, and I think
Right.
it's really people are just they're ready for
Yeah.
sure. So, yeah, absolutely. And even if it's like you finding friends in your area and being like, "Let's go do a photo shoot," like,
Yeah,
yeah,
because that's like, I don't know,
start it.
whenever I'm doing a shoot, like I'm completely in. Like,
Mhm. Good.
when we did the Cantina crossover, like
Oh,
that
that
was
was so
we were
amazing.
very literally on a set, but it
Yeah.
felt very real when we were in front of the cameras. So
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
Absolutely. I love it. Oh, well, Billy, where can people find you?
I'm at Billy Maddox everywhere. Search for me there, wherever it
All day,
is.
every day. Oh my goodness. I'm Kate Ryder. You can find me at One Scavenger's Wardrobe. You can find both of us at Off the Rack Rebellion on Instagram. And thanks for Ramey for ducking in. It was
Yeah.
super fun to get to hang out with Ramey in
Yeah.
person again. Love seeing that guy and a bunch of our other folks. And then thanks to the Dad Patch for hosting us. And actually for having me on recently. That was super fun. We talked about space time. So, our space fam. Yay. Uh, just remember that a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away can be right here and right now.